Hey, everybody. It is March 28th. It's Tuesday. It's that time again where I'm coming to you every single week about what is going on in Edmonton's housing market. And so I want to chat and just dive right into it. So if you have any questions, remember to comment and I will put up your comments and we'll chat about them. So this week, there are currently 2,321 listings, and we have a little bit less than last week in Edmonton. And if you look at St. Albert and Sherwood Park and Spruce Grove, pretty much the same story. Now they're a little bit closer. They haven't had a big change. It's interesting because if you are looking to list your house, this is the time. It is spring. And so I would have suspected that we would have seen a little bit of an increase. Last week, we saw a tiny increase in inventory, and I thought we would see that again this week. So I'm not quite sure why the listings aren't just flooding the market. Maybe people are a little concerned about finding a place because the inventory level is a lot lower than we expected it to be. Um, it's actually lower than it was a couple years ago. I remember doing an update saying that there's less listings than there are realtors, and at that time there was 3,200 realtors, and we had less listings. At that stage, we now have over 4,000 agents, so we definitely have basically half of the inventory for agent count. Now, in terms of pending sales, what's going on? We are definitely seeing more sales happening. Our listings that are priced well and exactly where they need to be are moving quickly, and they are moving. Now, there's multiple offers we're seeing in the market, and we're seeing when we're booking clients to look at properties are going pending. So in Edmonton, from week to week, we only saw it go up about like 10. So we're sitting at 373 this last week. In St. Albert, 15, so slightly lower. Sherwood Park, 16, and Spruce Grove, 15. So slightly lower than they were last week. I don't really think it's an alarming number, and I'm not really worried about that. I think that it's still pretty strong, but like I said earlier, the active listings is a little low, and that's a little scary in terms of if you're a buyer. If you're a seller, this is really good, and that's why we are seeing the multiple offers. Now, if you are curious about solds, don't forget anything that's pending right now then goes sold in the next week or two, right? Sometimes you have no conditions and it goes sold immediately. But in Edmonton, we had 148 properties sell in the last week versus 122. So it is getting stronger. St. Albert, 16, Sherwood Park, 12, which is the same, and Spruce Grove. Oh, the number is gone on there. Oops. If you want to know about Spruce Grove, just let me know. I'll pop that number in later. So if you compare to last year, you're looking at 148 sales this year, and we had 389 last year at this exact time. So don't forget, we were in the height of the market. It was very crazy last year. In St. Albert, 14 versus 36. In Sherwood Park, that's not supposed to be 116. That's 16 versus 33. And Spruce Grove, 12 versus 34. So last week I saw a triple of number. This week I'm seeing it's closing the gap a little bit. We're definitely not going to go back to what we were last year. And if you're interested, if you live in the communities of Rosenthal, Secord, and Terwilliger Town, I went and quickly dived into that. Rosenthal has 33 active listings currently and only 2 sold in this last week. In Secord, it's interesting because last year at this time, there were like nothing for sale, very low inventory. There's 77 active listings in Secord. That is way higher than we saw last year. The inventory last year was quite a bit lower, but I will tell you this. Couple of years ago, pre-pandemic, we actually always saw Secord listings very high, and it was also a lot harder to sell. They had 4 sell in the last week. And then in Terwilliger Town, we have 24 active listings and 3 properties sold. That's not even including the pending deals. That's just actives and sold. So if you are looking to sell your house, absolutely getting your home on the market as soon as possible is good. Not only is it good because you're looking to sell and potentially buy, you don't have to worry because if you're in a position where you're getting multiple offers, you're going to get the price you want and the date. So it'll buy us enough time to find you your property. So if we put your house up for sale, it's very likely we can negotiate a favorable date and price for you when the demand is high. So that's very key. Now, if you are looking to buy a property, there's still properties to be had. Now, I want to speak to any buyers that are thinking of putting lowball offers because I've seen them still on the listing side when we've done a giant reduction, and we still see people trying to take advantage. Buyers, if you're looking to gouge, that's not the way to go. Put yourself in the seller's shoes. I understand you want a deal, but the market is adjusting, and sellers who are pricing their home where they need to be and getting multiple offers, they're they are where they need to be. If the house is a little bit high, it doesn't mean that you need to gouge. We definitely want to find that market value. And at the end of the day, market value is what a buyer is willing to pay and what a seller is willing to let the house go for. So I just want to say that because it's been a little bit crazy. A lot of realtors understand that the price is proper and what it needs to be, but then buyers tend to still want to take that gouge. And I understand the interest rates are high, but that's not the right way to go about getting a deal. You can wait it out as well, and see if, because if the seller's not being reasonable, there's different ways to go about it. And that's just my 2 cents, seeing what's going on in the market right now. And I think it's really important that we all keep a professional feel, because if you were the seller, I don't think you want to see that either. So there are ways to still figure that out. We run comparables to see what has sold in the last 30 days. I would look at the last 60 days max, because the market is shifting. So in January, it was a lot quieter. And in March, we definitely are seeing a quicker move than we did in January and February. So true comparables would be the last 30 days in terms of what's sold. If there's nothing that's truly comparable to what you're looking at, then we have to be a little bit more in just like we have to go back further, but then we have to account for the time and what does that look like. So if you're looking at selling or buying, hopefully this update helps you. We will be back next week, and I am not going to talk about new builds because people said they didn't want to hear about them. So if you did want to hear about them, let me know in the comments. Have a great Tuesday.